Hey everybody, excuse me, sorry. Hey everybody, I'm back with another movie review, and today I am covering the Kenneth Branagh movie Murder on the Orient Express. Been wanting to cover this for a minute because I cover a lot of like murder mystery movies on the channel, like the movie Clue, both Knives Out films, and I did review Death on the Nile early 2021. All of which you can check out on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/talkativecarl. Links are in the description, as well as my other links to my Patreon, patreon.com/talkativecarl, where you can put in requests for certain TV shows, movies, comic books, or general topics that you want me to discuss. I'll post on Patreon for Patreon members for early access, as well as follow me on Odyssey.com, as well as my Twitch where I play games live, as well as do reviews. And you can also follow me on my Twitter at TalkativeCarl, so you'll know when I'm live. And definitely, if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely give this, try to get this video to 100 likes. Share this with your friends especially if you love a good mystery film, which I do. It's like one of my favorite genres, honestly. And I really wanted to cover this because I want to wrap up, because I already did Death on the Nile. I already covered both Knives Out films, like I said. So I just had to, just like Hercule Poirot, I had to get like a balance because when I'm pretty sure the Knives Out, I mean, as far as like murder mystery movies are concerned, the Knives Out films and the Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot films are like the top ones right now, as far as making some good, honest, solid murder mystery films. And the stories are like, it's not like Scooby-Doo level of easy to, well, see, here's the thing, because Ryan Johnson make all the Knives Out films. And I like his unique take on them because by and large, you know who did it. It's the mystery within the mystery that you had to figure out. And I'm going to spoil it here. You can check out the movies yourself and watch my full reviews on those and how I break them down and everything like that. But I like the mystery within the mystery that, it's all the more intriguing. It's like a unique twist on the mystery genre. Here is based off of the Agatha Christie books, which there were like at least 33 Hercule Poirot stories, which I got Audible and I haven't got any new stories on there in quite a few years at this point. And I should download some Hercule Poirot kind of stories. And anyway, like I said, Kenneth Branagh, which is funny because I didn't even realize this after I did my review on Wild Wild West, starring Will Smith. The villain in that stars Kenneth Branagh, and I didn't even realize that was Kenneth Branagh, and because Kenneth Branagh wasn't a name on my mind until Murder on the Orient Express. I'm pretty sure you've been a tons of other stuff like Wild Wild West that I probably just did not clue myself on. Nor didn't even realize he was like a decent. I don't even know when he started directing films, but he's really, really good. I'm curious to know if he's actually working on more uh 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 of definitely now, or at least murder mystery stuff, because it's really good. he actually he was married to Emma Thompson but divorced her in 1995, and then uh uh had like a short like partner ship with Helen Bonham Carter for until 1999, and then I think his current wife is Lindsay Brunnock. Um, so his next film is supposed to be coming out this year, actually. A Haunting in Venice, another American mystery film uh, based on Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. Yeah, so he's all in on this Agatha Christie stuff. So like, I cannot wait because it's supposed to come out in September this year. So I gotta make sure, like, yeah, because I'm all in. It's gonna be starring Kyle Allen, Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot again, of course. Camille Cotton, Jamie Doran, Tina Fey, Jude Hill, Kelly Riley, Michelle Yeoh, Emma Laird, uh, Ricardo Sacamacchio. I might have butchered the heck out of that, but I cannot wait for this because, like, I need to read some Agatha Christie stuff. Uh, but the thing difference is that the Knives Out films are original stories and not based off of anything. Where, like, you know, Kenneth Branagh is, you know, I'm not saying he's, you know, I'm pretty sure he's like, you know, work on other stuff outside of the Agatha Christie stuff, but like the bulk of his time is making these things. I guess it's kind of like James Cameron with the Blue Avatar people, where he's put on his like time and energy into one franchise. I think I'm digging the murder mystery Kenneth Branagh stuff more so. Anyway, this movie stars Kenneth Branagh as Hercule Poirot, world-renowned Belgian detective and former police officer. And by the way, I want to get this out the way here and now. Just the same thing I had with the Knives Out films. Who knows a detective? Yeah, just to say, I know it's like a whole cliche thing in, you know, a lot of these kind of genres, but it's like the Scooby Gang isn't, well, unless you're dealing with the movies, they're not like world renowned, you know, detectives or mystery solvers. But it's just, anyway, I'm saying that to say that who knows a detective personally? Just say Detective Jonah McIntosh of, you know, Houston, Texas, you know, solved this big, you know, mystery case of who stole the golden Swiss watch of that belonged to this king or whatever. It's golden diamond studded pocket watch that belonged to a king that was on loan from England or something like that in Houston, Texas, and he solves that and finds the culprit. Sure, he'll be a big deal. Uh, uh, you know, like maybe for like a couple of months or whatever like that. Because people's attention span isn't that long, especially when new, you know, crises come about. You know, I'm pretty sure the last time somebody thought about Hurricane Katrina was when it happened, the year that it happened, or the year after it happened. After a while, people, you know, it's not like they forgot, but it's just like it's not pertinent anymore. As horrible tragedy as that was. Um, uh, it's just it's not like a cliche that happens all the time to even be called a cliche, but it's like, honestly, who knows a detective by name? You know, I don't care what high profile case they solve. You know, like if like a high profile case in uh Seattle happened and it was solved, you think anybody in Australia would give a crap? I was like, oh, you're so and so who saw that big case in Seattle, Washington. No, it's like, nobody does that. Anyway, I just thought to bring that up because it seems like kind of nonsensical. Like, I was, it'd be kind of cool that nobody knows these guys until somebody actually had to bring it up. That is in a Jennifer vicinity or heard about it or kind of thing, but not everybody will hear about something that happened all across the world at the very least. You got Tom Bateman as Bach. If you as Hercule's friend and nephew of the owner of the Orient Express. If you watch my Death on the Nile spoiler review, which I encourage you to check it out, you already know Bach's how his story ends in that movie, so it's kind of like a shame. Oh god, because it brings back memories. Because I really like this character. He was like a one of those kind of cool best friends. Um, it'd be like Harry Osborn if he wasn't crazy, or got daddy issues. Got Penelope Cruz as Pilar Estravatos, a Spanish nurse. Uh, oh, hold on. I just noticed about Hercule Poirot's Christmas. Like, my goodness, there's, oh my god, can you imagine a murder mystery Christmas? You already did like a Die Hard Santa Christmas movie with dude from Stranger Things. I forgot what it was. And that movie was cool. So like, why not a murder mystery? Oh my god, a Hercule Poirot Christmas. That'd be wild. Anyway, again, off track. We got Willem Dafoe uh, uh, as this Austrian university professor named Gerard Hardman. Uh, Judy Dench as Princess Natalia Dragomirov. Johnny Depp as Edward Ratchet, famous gangster turned a like a wannabe art dealer. Josh Gad as Hector McQueen, Ratchet's secretary. Derek Jacobi as Edward Henry Masterman, Ratchet's valet and butler. Leslie Odom Jr. as Dr. Abernathy. Michelle Pfeiffer, Linda oh, I'm sorry, trying to not give away like important details until like I get through the end of the story. As Caroline Hubbard, Daisy Ridley, aka Ray Palpatine, as Mary Debenham, Marwan Kanzari as Pierre Michael, the conductor. Olivia Colman as Hildegard Smith. Lucy Barton as Countess Helena Adreni, however you pronounce it. Manuel Garcia Rufo as Benamio Marquez, let's call him Marquez, and Sergei Poloni as Count Rudolph Adrenini. Anyway, we begin the movie with Hercule Poirot solving this, just wrapping up this mystery in Jerusalem, where somebody stole this priceless item that's worshipped by all these different religious leaders, a monk, a priest, and a rabbi. And I kind of dig, like, because it adds to the charm of Hercule Poirot that he's not like, even though he, if you ever watched the TV show Psych that used to be aired on USA, or the TV show Monk, it's always like these detectives always have some kind of quirk to them, or even like the Knives Out films with I forgot, I'm blanking on his name. It's gonna bug me if I don't know. Benoit Blanc. I don't know. It's just like things that they maybe it's some kind of a mental thing. Because no, detectives have some kind of like quirkiness to them to help them solve mysteries. That's another kind of cliche thing where it's like, in order to be like a great detective, you gotta have some kind of OCD or something in order to, like, things can't, things are out of order. That makes me like a fantastic detective. Or it's like, it's the same way with like the what was that Predator movie where it's like you gotta have somebody, some kid with not special needs, but has some kind of thing in their brain or help them utilize predator ships or something like that. It's like you're trying to not push for something. They always did something like that in these kind of detective type of genres, where there gotta be some kind of quirkiness to them. And it's like, why this can't be very good at their jobs? There gotta be some kind of gimmick to them, but they can't be any kind of imbalance as it makes them like a good detective. Like, he stepped in like I don't know, it was horse or camel poo, and it's like he had to step in it with his other shoe in order to have like a balance. Even when he orders eggs for breakfast, they got to be like symmetrical. He always like get a ruler and like make sure they're like aligned up properly, or at least have the same size eggs. But there's more layers to him beyond that, where he's like, he try to make a joke where he brings he announces to like to the crowd around, like trying to avoid turmoil more so than it already is between these different religions, where it's like we got a monk, a priest, and a rabbi. It's like that old joke, forgive me, I am Belgium. And it's like, I always get a chuckle out of that. It's like, you can't not bring up the fact that it sounds like that old joke. It's kind of like a monk, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar, and it's and people's waiting for the setup, or you got the setup, people's waiting for the punchline. You can't help it. You was trying to be, he's trying to be playing straight. It's kind of like I just watched like a new episode of South Park, and where the officers, it's kind of like a callback to a different old episode of South Park, where like one of the uniform officers comes to the captain like, Captain, the old lady walked into the ran to the bar. Okay, yeah, okay. It's like he think it's a joke. Like she says she won't come out until like like her needs are met. Okay, hold on. Johnson, come here. Like like okay, like an old woman walking to the. It's like okay, you can't help but think that, but it's just like a cool joke that you don't hear too often. It's really good. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it up because it just made me laugh. I love that. Um, so you found out that the same, which is kind of idiotic to be honest, the same the captain that hired Poirot to find this jewel thief turns out to be him, and he tries to run off. He gets captured and everything like that. It's like, why would you hire a well-renowned detective who's very good at his job to solve a case that you're the culprit of? That's just stupid. I mean, at the very least, you stick with like the you know uh regular officers and stuff, and just uh leave it at that. And it's like they can't solve it, then like you're in the clear. Why? It always that seemed like a dumb move. Criminals are idiotic sometimes. Um, so there's this line that will come into play at the end of the film, if you think about it, where a different officer asks him, about his unique gift in order to like ascertain like the culprits the way he does. And and Perot brings up this line about like, there's good and there's bad, there's no in between. That will come to play at the end of the movie. It kind of gives him like a different like worldview. He actually goes on like a pretty decent arc. I watched this. Actually, this is like third, fourth time, because I watched this movie twice this week. But I think it's like I watched this actually quite a few times in the past. So it's like I really like this movie. It's really good. It's only a shame that I didn't go to the theater to see it when it came out in 2017. I didn't really think much of it because like murder mystery films weren't known to be like it's been like a long time since somebody did like a really good like murder mystery that get the buzz around. And so right now, currently, as we like I stated, you got the Knives Out films and these Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie films. There's only two good ones out right now that's like solid murder mystery films. Oh, I gotta mention about the cinematography in this, because the bulk of the film is based on this train, and the cinematography. I don't bring up the people behind the cinematography by name all that much. I really need to start doing that. But we got Harris Zimbarlokos, who has done the cinematography in this, and the tracking shots are just phenomenal. It's like when you're like above or outside, you're following the particular key players. Oh, and also, this is kind of standard in these kind of murder mystery films. You always gotta have like oh, he did the cinematography and not Death on the Nile too, by the way. But you always got opening to these murder mystery films where it's like you gotta see like the players and they gotta talk in very suspicious ways, and it's like you gotta make them all look guilty so that way kind of be thrown off by certain red herrings and everything like that, so you won't ascertain who the bad guy is too quickly, because you gotta be able to help you follow along the main character, and you gotta as he's solving things, you're trying to put pieces together. Normally that's what makes like a good like mystery movie. Like I said, unlike Knives Out, you already know who did it typically, but you're trying to figure out like the mystery within the mystery, and that's where the fun is. Anyway, Hercule gets bumps into his friend Buck, who gets him aboard the Orient Express, and because he has to go back to London for another case, which by the end of the movie is Stand Up, Death of the Nile, and which is kind of weird because uh, it's been a while since I've seen Death on the Nile. I gotta rewatch it again, but the way the movie starts, uh, because the way they set it up, it's like there's been like a death on the Nile. But as the movie starts, yes, Hercule was hired, but he was hired by Bach's mom. Slight spoiler: hired by Bach's mom to uh to spy and size up Bach's serious girlfriend that he has in the next film. He wasn't even like dealing with initially any type of murder because the murder hasn't even happened yet. It just happened on, you know, in among him. So it's like it's it just it wasn't like, not like Batman Begins weaving perfectly into the Dark Knight with the Joker playing card. You know, this isn't like woven that well to set up the next film. They seem like they kind of, maybe it's because, you know, Death on the Nile released like, you know, it was one of the first few movies that was released in theaters after the whole pandemic situation. So you know, it was during like, you know, the whole lockdown and everything like that that was going on, where certain things were, you know, kind of moved around a bit. Maybe, I don't know, that could be the explanation. Now think about it, there's not one time where in the like the Knives Out films nor the Agatha Christie kind of the Brenner films were being released at the same year. I really want these high profile murder mystery films to be released in theaters at the same time and try to compete and see, you know, just to really like see like which one of them were better, or like, you know, just by audience uh uh judgments. Also, who do you think, leave a comment below, like who do you think is like a better detective, Hercule Poirot or Benoit Blanc? Because that'll be an interesting like kind of like a detective kind of discussion, like who's like a legit like excellent detective. Anyway, so everybody's being set up, you know, who's gonna be like the, because like that's what make a great murder movie mystery, is where you got this star-studded cast of people and they just acting their butts off. I mean, this movie had like a budget of 55 million and raked in at the box office 352.8 million dollars. That shows like a mark of a fantastic, you know, story, cinematography, directing, and acting, and the music. Normally you don't really put a shine on the music within movies unless they're very prominent, like something like Guardians of the Galaxy, or like the musical theme songs like the Avengers, or like you know, something that pronounced, overtly pronounced. But there's certain things that's kind of like subtle that, you know, most people don't really pick up on, like especially not me. I'm not that like so deep ingrained where like focus even on like the musical scores like that, unless they're in your face sometimes. There's rare times where it's actually like, you know, subtle, but I, you know, like man, this like the tension, this musical tone tension that's playing right now, oh my god, it's like sometimes I, you know, I can pick up that, but you know, 7 times out of 10 no. But so everybody's on board, and like, you know, Hercule's, you know, seeing a few people here and there, talking with like Miss Hubbard, who's like a chatty Cathy. And it's clear that Dr. Albert and this is her name, Miss Debenham, had like a thing with each other, and you can see that Ratchet is just, as the name suggests, he's like just a. Sometimes the names can be on the nose in these type of films, but it's set up like like you're playing the board game Clue. It's like you got these eyeballed names, and some might be a little on the nose about their like personality. We got the guy named Ratchet, who's like a gangster, obviously a no good person, and he's getting like these death threat letters, and he tries to hire / threaten Hercule Poirot into be his like bodyguard, and Hercule like declined, because obviously you can tell like this guy's like like I don't like you, like I don't like being threatened, so on and so forth. So he's like like not I'm not in the business of protecting criminals. So one night, I mean, like, let's just say like the next day, and is ironically during a when an avalanche happens, which kind of like snowbounds the train for a couple of, well, at least a few days, like at least a day or two. The earliest, where they sent with like the people in the next stop is sending like per protocol. They send all the emergency people and come follow down the track to see what's up with the train, and they're trying to help them get back on track so they can get to the next stop. So it's kind of convenient that they have to be stuck there, because at the once the death happens, the killer will be moving on scot-free without anyone being like the wiser, at least until like they're already long gone. Anyway, they find Ratchet stabbed to death. So now Block gets his friend to try to figure out who done it. So Hercule starts interviewing all these different people, and discover like the the so-called Austrian professor turns out to be an American detective on the job. And Debenham is hiding something, and turns out that Ratchet's secretary McQueen was like skimming a bit off the top on Ratchet's dirty funds, and this dude idiotically tried to throw away some evidence and tried to burn it, and then got caught. And it's like, how is your asses think you're gonna get away when you're fee fi fo fumming it all over the place, not being stealthy at all. So as Hercule finding these kind of evidence, and like some kind of missing conductor's button situation. Then Miss Hubbard got stabbed in the back by somebody, but she didn't die. She got stabbed in the shoulder. And then now it's like Hercule's like okay, we're gonna have to like get everybody together in one spot so everybody can, be able to keep watch because there's a killer among us, blah 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 blah. So we gotta make sure we can avoid anybody else getting hurt. And during this investigation, Hercule uncovered that Ratchet is really the infamous gangster named John Cassetti, who was responsible in the kidnapping and murder of a Daisy Armstrong, this little girl who belonged to the Armstrongs. It's like, very famous American couple. Colonel Armstrong, who fought in the war, and this actress, Mrs. Armstrong, formerly like Goldberg or something like that, and they had like a great life and everything like that. But it's like Cassetti broke in, kidnapped the child, demanded ransom. They paid the ransom, but the kid ended up dying anyway. And this kind of broke them, and at that time the mother was already pregnant with the second child. The baby was born stillborn, and the mother died during childbirth. The father was a wreck. It was before, like, during this whole situation, he sent out a letter to Hercule Poirot to try to help find his daughter and everything like that. But during this whole thing with the mother dying and everything like that, he was just a wreck, and he committed suicide in the process. By the time Hercule finally got that letter, it was already over and done with. So it rocked the nation, in the story. So during this course, after he trying to interrogate Debenham and getting shot by the doctor, who turns out to be like a former army sniper who just want to wing him, and because being like a sniper, he should have been able to like pick him off in an enclosed space that with a gun should be very simple for him. Proving to Poirot that you didn't really want to kill me, you wanted to like wound me. So he finally gathers all these people together, and he figures out that even the conductor himself, everybody is connected to this Armstrong case in one way, shape, or form. And they all were gathered to plan on the murder of Cassetti, who was responsible for destroying the lives of this, very nice family. So Pilar was the housemaid, and looking at the child, who, because the house was, because they broke in the house, he knocked her unconscious and kidnapped the baby on her watch. Hardman turns out to be Cyrus Hardman, the American detective, who was in charge of the Armstrong case, who they the police was doing like a shoddy job by assuming it was like this French woman named Suzanne who who was in the employ of the Armstrongs in some way, but they kind of like trying to pin it on her. She ended up dying in custody by suicide. But during the midst of the whole entire thing, these two fell in love. You got Natalia, who was the grandmother, sorry, Daisy's godmother and close friend of Sonia. McQueen was the son of the prosecutor of Suzanne, who was forced to try to close the case and find like the culprit and everything like that. And so he was hanging everything on this Suzanne woman, but she was pronounced innocent post-mortem after, like, most the evidence started to point towards Concetti, but he was already long gone, and it kind of ruined McQueen's father's reputation. Masterman was the Armstrong's valet and Batman. Dr. Arbuthnot was the best friend of Colonel Armstrong during the war. That helped him try to, because he's like a black man and like doesn't get like kind of, black men at that time wouldn't gain kind of opportunities to do certain work like being a doctor. So it was Armstrong who like pushed that forward, tried to get him like the opportunity so he can pursue that dream. Miss Hubbard, actually named Linda Arden, was the grandmother of Daisy and mother of Sonia. Mary Debenham turned out to be Sonia's personal secretary and Daisy's governess. The conductor, Pierre, turns out to be the brother of Suzanne. Hildegard turns out to be the cook of the Armstrongs. Countess Helena turns out to be Sonia's younger sister, and her husband is the brother-in-law. And Marquez turns out to be the Armstrong's chauffeur. Everybody, like had an invested interest in this kind of case, and like they loved this family so much, they loved this child so much. It was like a horrendous act that shook a lot of people, and it turns out they all killed him. It was kind of like Caesar, with everybody getting those knives and taking turns stabbing him, but instead of like everybody having their own knife, it was the one single knife that they all used, which convinced like Hercule earlier to believe it was only one perpetrator, but it turns out to be all of them. And so Hercule, understood their situation, but he laid one of the guns down on the table and says, like, because like I can't deal with like imbalance, I won't be able to lie for you guys, so you just have to commit one more murder, mine. You could dump my body in the in the icy river, and you can get away scot-free, because like Book can lie, I cannot. So he's to turn around, Hover grabs a gun and like tries to shoot herself. It was turned out to be empty, but Hercule is trying to see what kind of character they truly are. And so he comes to the decision to where, because he's trying to rationalize in his brain, because he cannot live with an imbalance, but he's forced to live with an imbalance now, given like the arc that I was mentioning that he's had to go on, the fact that he's so used to having like perfectly symmetrical balance going on. But he has to be content with the fact that he has to live with like a lie that he cannot reveal, because the true imbalance he's rationalizing in his mind is the fact that there was a crime that he was supposed to have been a part of, but he didn't get there in time or get the information in time, that was left unsolved. And now, because these people enacted a lot, enacted the crime to take this man, this very criminal man's life that already took a precious life, an innocent life, away from them. Even though they wouldn't hold up in freaking court, but it's like a devastating thing. So he rationalized there's balance now. So the movie ends with like him getting like the death now, info and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, that kind of wouldn't hold up in court at all. Where it's like, oh yeah, like they just won't like of course this is like in the 1939 or 32. What was it? 1934. And I was like, whew, 5 years, 4 or 5 years later, y'all into some like rude awakening with the Germans. I'm just let you guys know, there's about some bad days ahead for at least a good few years. So it's like, buckle up, people. But it's a solid movie. If it was played, if it was some kind of thing like that were played in modern times, I doubt with things like CSIs and everything like that, there wouldn't be like, if they found out there was a multiple perpetrators committed the exact same crime, then they're all going down. It's like, despite like the circumstances on which like why they did it is like harsh, and like it was like a horrendous thing that was befell them, that rocked everybody. It's like they might get a lighter sentence, but he still committed murder and conspiracy to commit murder, all that stuff. But it's still a great story. Like, I really gotta check out some Agatha Christie mystery stories. Ones that I haven't already watched during the film. There's only been 2 Agatha Christie films, so maybe check out like well, I don't want to get spoiled because that's the problem. It's like because there's one coming out in September, a third one, but I don't want to have to end up reading and possibly getting spoiled. Even they might change some stuff here and there, because usually stuff based off of books, they usually have certain changes to fit the narrative of a movie platform. But it's like, that's why like I never only read like at least the first 3 Harry Potter books, but I read them only after I already saw the film. And I imagine if I read the books, there might be some spoilers in the film format. So I don't know, I'm a little weary on that. I could download the stories like Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express. I already saw the films. I can just listen to the audibles on those. But it's like, I don't know. It's like it's a catch-22. That's like, do I want to get ruined by the movie, or do I want to read or listen to a story that I already know is going to happen and seen it like countless of times? It's kind of like, I don't know. It's a dealer's choice. But anyway, that is Murder on the Orient Express. Next week I'll have another movie to review next Thursday, because in a couple of weeks there'll be like Shazam coming out, as well as John Wick the week after. So the next film is something like I been wanting to. I was going to let you guys know now, because I one of my first movies that I reviewed for my channel was the early 2000s Charlie's Angels films with Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, and Cameron Diaz. I'm finally gonna be covering the sequel because it's one of my biggest viewed movies that I reviewed that all y'all really loved. So I appreciate you guys for that. But now I'm going to check out. I already seen it a bunch of times as when it came out, but it's been years since I've seen it. Since. So I'm gonna rewatch Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, and then I will put out the review next Thursday. So look forward to that, and I will see you guys. Well, I don't know. I gotta catch up on my. I don't know. I really need to catch up because I've been kind of slacking with my Spider-Gwen, the Radioactive Spider-Gwen comic book. That it's 34 issues I want to read so I can do my review of it next Thursday as well. Now that I've put a pause on TV show reviews for a hot minute while I get some extra time to put towards reading through these comics so I can get some reviews out for you guys. I need to put in some time into that. So it's probably good because I need to probably take a break, at least a day from streaming, because I'll definitely be back tomorrow with more Forspoken and Fire Emblem and Hogwarts Legacy. So I will see you guys then. But check out my other video game walkthroughs like Forspoken, Hogwarts Legacy, so forth. And look forward to more reviews, like because once I got like at least like a few Spider-Man, well, I wouldn't say a few, like at least a handful of Spider-Man comics that I need to get through. I already done all the movies, and then like the TV shows, except for like Spider-Man Unlimited and Spider-Man and Amazing Friends. I never really cared for those two particular ones, but on focus on making sure I clear out the Spider-Man comics before Spider-Verse sequel comes out in June. But I'm pretty sure I'll be long since done with the Spider-Man reviews. Then I can jump on to the X-Men related stuff, the TV shows, the movies, and the comics. The thing with the comics is I'm going to go through at least, well, I won't say at least, like, at least like the core particular members of the X-Men before we do any kind of team-centered stories. Like, we'll let you guys know. We'll cover like Jubilee comic, a Beast-centered comic, Archangel centered comic, Gambit, Iceman, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, Rogue, Storm, of course Wolverine, Magneto, Cyclops, and I already did like a Deadpool comic review, I believe, but I might as well I'll do another one just for cause, and of course then a X-Men center comic as them as a team. So I just want to make sure. Of course, I will cover like the TV shows like X-Men 97, X-Men Evolutions, X-Men anime, Wolverine anime. Oh, of course, I am Wolverine and the X-Men. I haven't even put it on my list. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. I will see you guys tomorrow, some point in the evening, for more streams. So I will see you guys later. Take care. Have a good night.